What's going on, everybody? GemMint here. Recently I did a video talking about why the prices of comic books are so high right now, and I brought up my friend Comic Tom so we can kind of talk about it. And that got me thinking. I had mentioned in that video how I was collecting key issues around 2014, 2015, 2016, and I took a stroll down memory lane. I went down my Instagram feed. I was looking at all the key issues that I used to own, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about them and share with you guys, because a lot of those at the time were just kind of no big deal, but now have become significantly big books. So we're going to take a look at all of those key issues that I've ever owned. Before we get started, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell. We're doing a giveaway for a Spider-Man statue once we hit 125,000. All you got to do is be subscribed, leave a like and comment on this video, and hang around to the end so I can give you some more details. Also, I mentioned Comic Tom, and I want to share with you a little team-up thing that we got going on. Right now, he has his mystery mail call where he sends you comic books. It'll come with an exclusive variant or two, art prints, random comic books, and sometimes he'll sprinkle in like key issues as well. Well, his June box has a Something is Killing the Children issue 16 exclusive variant, which is by Raf Grassetti. Now, what's interesting about Raf Grassetti, not only is he the creative director for God of War, and he does 3D modeling for video games, he also is a sculptor for statues, and he sculpted the Sideshow Batman Who Laughs premium format that's coming out. So not only does he have his hand in video games and statues, but he also takes his 3D models and he does exclusive variant covers with Comic Tom. So he's in the comic book world as well. Anyway, I say all that to say this. If you subscribe to the mystery mail call, you'll get that Raf Grassetti variant, you'll get comic books, and if you don't cancel, the July box is going to have a joint exclusive. That's right, it's a Comic Tom GemMint exclusive variant. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but just know that that's coming in the July box. So visit ComicTom101.com. The link's in the description, but that's also the URL, so check it out if you guys are interested in that. And let's start off with the oldest picture that's on my feed, and this is also the thumbnail. And I know what everyone's thinking. Damn, Gem, the years haven't been kind. You were mad slim, all that stuff. So, man, I was working out a lot back then. I plan to get back into that, but I tell you, even going full-time YouTube, it's like there's not more hours in the day. I don't know what happened. Anyway, we're here to talk about the keys, and this is the X-Men 1 CGC 1.0. This was like the biggest book that I had ever purchased at the time. I was super nervous when I bought it too, because I got it off the CGC forums through a private transaction, and I remember paying $600 for this. I'm not going to even talk about current prices of books, because first of all, by the time I record this, edit it, and release it, the books are going to be even worth more than what I quoted you at in the recording, and especially as the video gets older. But obviously, all of these books have significantly appreciated, and of course, I don't still own them. That's kind of like the thumbnail. But anyway, we'll talk about the books. So the X-Men one, this is the first X-Men one that I've owned. It had a detached cover. It was beat up, but it was unrestored. It was complete, and I was super proud to own it. You can't tell from my expression on this picture, but trust me, I was. Then I ended up getting a giant size X-Men one. It was a CGC 6.5. I took a very bad picture next to the X-Men one, and at this time, man, giant size X-Men was such an undervalued book. I remember buying this one for $450. Not even close now. It might be times 10 now with the value, but giant size X-Men, this is like the first appearance of the new team. So this picture is to show the original team, the new team, Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, second full appearance of Wolverine, and yeah, X-Men goodness. Then here was my top 5. This is something we used to do on Instagram back in the day. They might still do it. I don't collect keys anymore, but these were like my top 5 most expensive books at the time. The X-Men one, which we mentioned with giant size, that was my first Incredible Hulk 181. It was a 4.5. I think I bought that for about $650 at the time. It's so crazy to think all these books were under $1,000. Then I had New Mutants 98 and a 9.8, which was a raw copy that I purchased off eBay for $150, and it came back in 9.8. At the time, I think the value was around $425. And that has significantly increased even throughout these pictures I'll show you. Then we have an Amazing Spider-Man 20, which was a CGC 6.5, first appearance of Scorpion. I'll never forget, I overpaid, and I paid $350 on eBay. I had like a sore thumb standout on GPA with that sale, but I'm sure with the market inflation, that book is worth way more than that now. This next picture jumps to my second X-Men #1. This was a 3.5. I'll never forget. Bought this one from 4 Comics for $1,800. which at the time, I was getting more comfortable with buying more expensive keys. Obviously, next to it is my Amazing Fantasy 15, which is a 1.5. It did have a detached cover, but it still presented really well, and I bought that for $5,000. So that's how much that went for at the time. And pretty clean picture. These were my two prized possessions at the time. First appearance of Spider-Man, first appearance of X-Men. Then we have some books where I was buying raw copies from like Tate's Comics or like Phil's Comic Shop in Margate, Florida, and I would send them to CGC, and this was me getting back Fantastic Four 48 and 49. No big deal. I feel like the 5.5 was like a $150 book at the time. The 3.5 was like, I think maybe a $400 book, something like that. But first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus with the first cover appearances. This is a coveted set now. I mean, technically FF50 is part of that, but nobody really cares about that book. But now this would be a bigger deal than it was back then. So kind of in that same haul, we had an Amazing Spider-Man 9. I was going for low number Amazing Spider-Man Silver Age keys. I remember buying this book raw. I want to say it was like $250 off the CGC boards. Came back a 4.0. I think it was like equal the value of what I paid at the time. Of course, now it would be worth much more, but first appearance of Electro, Silver Age Spider-Man goodness. Yo, so you guys might remember, I always talk about me camping out with a friend of mine in front of Tate's for their tent sale. We kind of stayed overnight outside like we were waiting for new Jordans. And this Fantastic Four 45 was one of the wall books that I bought. This was the first appearance of the Inhumans. It was super hot. This was before the Inhumans show. I can't remember what I bought this for, but I think I like quadrupled my money on that. That was more of like a flip type thing to help the hobby fund itself. That FF3, I think I got raw off Instagram. It came back at 2.5. It was kind of equal value as well. First appearance of the Fantastic Car and of the new costumes. So I always love early Spider-Man and Fantastic Four keys. Okay, in this picture, we're adding to the blue chip keys. When I picked up my Fantastic Four issue 1 2.5, I think I paid $2,800 for this, and I think I paid $2,350 plus a raw book from that Tate's tent sale. I got this from Bedrock Comics on Instagram, and they're on the CGC forums, and they're still around. It had watering at the top, which is what gave it the 2.5, but besides that, it was super clean, and I loved owning all these books together. FF1, insanely hot right now, right? X-Men 1, Fantastic Four 1 are on fire. Then I added the Avengers 1 2.0 to the list. This was always kind of an undervalued book. It's not really the first appearance of any characters, just the first appearance of a team. But I picked this one up. I think it was like $1,200. I don't remember. It wasn't like a price that stood out to me as much, but just added it to the blue chips, lower grade, but it presented well. Okay, this was the second Incredible Hulk 181 that I've owned. I ended up selling the 4.5. I got this 6.5. I think I got it from my boy Frank, aka Always Collecting on Instagram, and I think I paid like $1,200 or $1,250 for this. And this was my house in Florida, the old Gempire, where I had these Fathead comics on the walls, which actually looks pretty cool, man. I think I showed them in some other pictures. But I didn't really talk about it. So I had a few of those. Yeah, you can kind of see it in that first picture with like Iron Man and Thor on the wall. And then here's just me adding that to the other 4 blue chip keys that I mentioned before. These were like my top 5. This was the new top 5 compared to that first picture. So this was like a banger top 5 for sure. Okay, now this Silver Age haul, we're going a little bit back. I think this is the FF 45, 48, and 49 that I had graded. I had 50, I had 52, first appearance of Black Panther, first appearance of Black Bolt, and FF 46. This was kind of like a joint haul with me and my friend that we stayed overnight in front of Tate's, and we went to Phil's Comics that day. And I think Phil had all the other FF keys that he had just got in this collection, and he was super fair with pricing. He didn't charge the CGC value of a book. He charged like overstreet prices. So it was a crazy good deal. And I just love that picture. Love those Silver Age FF keys all together. Then I ended up picking up an Avengers 4 2.0. I think this was like a $150 book. Super affordable for the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. I have it paired next to the Marvel Select cap, and that's what kind of got me started to get interested in statues when I started pairing slabs with figures and realizing I liked the bigger figures like the Thing, Abomination, Hulk, and then I started getting into statues after that. These are really my favorite type of books. Copper Age 9.8s, the Frank Miller Wolverine 4-issue set, all 9.8, all white pages, all direct market editions. And we'll talk about that. I never really got into the newsstand thing. I always rather would have had art in the corner than a barcode. So I always deliberately went for direct market editions, which is funny because now like newsstands are all the rage. But this is a set that I would love to own again. I would love to put this together again. But that Wolverine 1 9.8 was like a $350 book at this time. I think, what did we say it was? Like $1,000 book in that video that I did with Tom? Crazy how much this went up. Here's another set that's kind of in that vein. The Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6. This was prior to Avengers Infinity War, and Thanos was super hot. The Infinity Gauntlet storyline was hot. All that stuff was on fire. They're all 9.8s, white pages. I did like this set a lot. This is kind of my thing. Give me 9.8 sets of copper modern age books. And when I say modern, I mean more of like 90s stuff, not like recent stuff. But even like the full set of Civil War, which I've had, and things of that nature, is kind of my jam. And you guys can kind of see how my brain works. Then I ended up putting together the Infinity War 1 through 6, which was pretty cool because they had, you know, images on the front and back, although they're trifold poster cover, so you really don't get the full image like that, but still cool to have that whole set in 9.8s. All right, so let's get into some more Copper Age goodness. New Mutants 87 with 98, first appearance of Cable and Deadpool. I have the Marvel Selects with them. Kind of, you can see where I started to get my love for displaying figures and, like I said, into statues. But I always love this set. I love the Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld collaboration on New Mutants 87. Always love New Mutants 98. And I have a couple more pictures, I think, to kind of show that. Like this one here. So I was big on this early on. Give me the second printing in a 9.8. It's got a different background. It's got the gold background, blacked out barcode. I got the Marvel Selects Cable there. And what's cool about this, I feel like people weren't really on those second printings like they are now, man. And I think at the time, I bought that for like $150. It was super affordable. I don't really remember what the Cable first appearance was at the time, maybe around $300 or something like that. But I loved pairing that stuff. That even started my love for like doing that with statues and getting the variants. And that's how I ended up with all those Hulk variants and Spider-Man variants and things like that. Then we have that New Mutants 98 paired up with Deadpool's second appearance in X-Force 2, also a 9.8 with white pages. Rob Liefeld kind of hyped this book up for no reason, but I ended up making a lot of money off that book. I would drive to every comic book shop on the weekend, pick up that book raw for $2 and sell it for $20, and I would take that money and I would put it into a key issue. And that's kind of like how I always talked about having the hobby fund itself. That was a book that was hot at the time, that was super affordable and easy to find, but people online were willing to buy it. Same vibes here. Venom 1 Lethal Protector, red foil cover, gold foil cover, CGC 9.8s. I love the Mark Bagley artwork. Venom Marvel Select in the middle there. Super clean, and we're going to kind of go down the foil cover rabbit hole a little bit here. But let's start with these Marvel Chromium classics, man. I was in love with these books. I got these from Always Collecting as well. No, I'm tripping. Eddyville. I got these from Eddyville in Miami. And these are reprints of Amazing Spider-Man 300 and Spider-Man 1, but they have these chromium covers, which I absolutely adored. I think I bought these both from him for like $1,200 or $1,250. And what I always liked about this is it had the reverse images on the back from like Amazing Spider-Man 301 and Spider-Man 13. And I just thought that was super slick, and I really liked that aspect of CGC slabs that you could see the images that were on the back. Love the chromium look. And we're going to get into some more ASM goodness in a bit. But before we do that, let's jump into my lone DC book here. I really liked this kind of key issue, though. Batman the Animated Series, Batman Adventures 12, first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn. Kind of paired her with Deadpool. I kind of felt like these were the two hottest characters from that era at that time. And I had those bank busts next to them. And actually, I still own that Deadpool bank bust. So kind of in vain with the Frank Miller set, I started to put together the Wolverine ongoing series keys, or not keys, but run in CGC 9.8s. I had issue 1, 2, I don't know what that issue is on the bottom, but then you have the one where he's patched with Hulk, which I think is like 8 or 9. Yeah, issue 8. Then issue 10, which is the first battle between him and Sabretooth. And that other book on the left is Wolverine 3. You can kind of see the fat heads on the wall. And I had fun just, trying to put together these sets of these Wolverine issues. So in that vein, I started doing the same thing with New Mutants. I was like, okay, I have 87, I have 98, I got 100. So then I started putting together like 85 through 100 for whatever reason. Rob Liefeld covers. I had some dope covers back then. All right, so this was kind of cool. This was like my all-white covers, first appearance of Spider-Girl. And it's not really the first appearance of Venom pool, but it's those were backup stories in 4 what if issues, and then this issue came out called What If Venom Possessed Deadpool, and it collected all 4 of those backup stories for the whole story with a Scotty Young cover, which was great. This was a super hot book at the time. I think it was like a $450 book. I picked these both up raw, I think, and got them submitted to CGC, and they came back 9.8s. All right, here's some bangers now. Amazing Spider-Man 300 and 316, both 9.8. First full appearance of Venom, first cover appearance. At the time, these books were like $1,000 book, and I want to say $150 book. Now, incredibly more expensive. I want to say ASM 300 and a 9.8 now goes for like $6,000. Insanely more expensive than when I own them. And the 316 is a banger too. I think it's like $1,800 now. Kind of jumping around a little bit, but anyway, this was like, okay, all my New Mutant key issues. I showed 87, 98, then Annual 2, which is the first American appearance of Psylocke, basically the Psylocke we know from the X-Men. Oh, then this is just Wolverine 1 paired with Wolverine 1, super clean, kind of loved how that looked together. Again, the book on the right was definitely $150 around that time, and now I think it's around $800. Then we have Amazing Spider-Man 300 paired up with the Chromium version, so that looked nice together. I think I actually preferred the Chromium edition. Even though it was a reprint that came out years later, it was scarce, it was Chromium, it was awesome. And I also ended up putting together 298 and 299, Todd McFarlane's first work on Spider-Man and the first appearance of Eddie Brock and first cameo of Venom. I loved how these kind of paired together. They were very similar, how they looked, same characters, same white background, and both 9.8s. And I was always big on sets, so not only did I have Amazing Spider-Man 361, the first appearance of Carnage, I had the whole trilogy. This was an arc, 362 and 363 as well, and I loved those covers from back in the day, especially 363. They were super affordable back then, probably $50 to $75 books. I'm pretty sure they go for a lot more now. All right, this is dope. This is my Symbiote key little setup. Amazing Spider-Man 252 with Secret Wars 8, both 9.8s. Love the orange covers. Loved the Symbiote saga. I was like learning about it for the first time while I was collecting the keys. Like I had seen it, especially like in cartoons and such. But then this is when I started getting into Omnibus and started reading about the keys that I was collecting. All right, so let's talk about this one. Amazing Spider-Man 300 and 301. We showed the 300. 301 was always a crazy expensive book because the CGC census showed it was very rare and high grade. It was very scarce in 9.8. So I ended up scooping one up. I think I paid like $650. It had sold for upwards of $1,100 at one point in time, but it was kind of one of those weird books that it wouldn't hit the market often. Sometimes it would sell good, sometimes it was hard to sell. I'm pretty sure that book has appreciated like everything else on this video, but I really liked it because it just paired with 300. It was the same type of cover, reverse image, not black suit. He had the red and blue, Todd McFarlane goodness, and it was just super clean. 9.8, very rare to get. And then like my New Mutants 87, we have Amazing Spider-Man 362, second full appearance of Carnage with the first print and second print. And again, the background on the second print, that different cover, that like organic natural variant. Before variants were like mass produced and like, you know, intentionally put out, these were more put out of necessity for, you know, a second printing, which they still do now. But I was early on this. I think I got that one for like $150 as well. I'm sure it's rare to even see those come up for sale. And then same thing with the big key, 361, first print and second print. I just think it was so awesome that it had a different color background, more of that gray silver look. Definitely $150 at the time. I remember distinctly. Carnage was like a $350 dollar book for the first print. Again, I don't even know that you see these come up in 9.8 often, but I did own both at one point in time, and you guys can kind of see how my collecting mentality works here. Then the foil goodness, it went from having the Lethal Protector 1, the gold variant, to getting Amazing Spider-Man 365, which had that gold foil cover, also by Mark Bagley. These just paired really well together, and I always loved 375, my bad. 365 is the 2099 book. I had this book as a kid, a raw copy, and everybody thought those foil covers were like the special books, but I had it to pair with that, Lethal Protector 1. Then we have some more Wolverine keys, Incredible Hulk 340, Big Wolverine McFarlane key, battle between Wolverine and Hulk, and then Wolverine, what is this, 75? 155, which is an homage to that with Deadpool versus Wolverine and Wolverine in the blade, like, you know, with Deadpool's blade. So I thought that was super cool to have and pair up together. And this is the last picture. This is just me putting like all my Wolverine keys together. 181 7.5, which was my third and final copy. Then the Wolverine ones and the Incredible Hulk 340. A lot of you guys may have seen me with other keys on Instagram or even in some of my old room tours. These were all like my personal collection books. I did have other books in hand that I either bought to sell or that I was selling on consignment for someone else, because I had a big Instagram page at the time where I was buying, selling, moving key issues. So if you're saying, well, didn't I see you with a Hulk one, or didn't I see you with this? It wasn't in my personal collection. These were really my personal collection books. And I've had other books come and go, but these were the ones that I really just wanted to highlight that I thought had cool stories behind them. So anyway, I ended up selling all these and getting into the omnibus format, getting into statues. So although they're worth a lot more money than they were when I sold them, I never really feel regret, because if I didn't do that, I might not have gotten into the hobby that I'm in now. I may have never started this YouTube channel, and you know, the whole butterfly effect that comes along with that. But let me know which one was your favorite in the comments down below. I know I didn't really talk about AF-15 that much. I did make a whole video on how I was able to acquire that. You can actually check that out here. But let me know which one was your favorite. Like I said, liking, commenting, and being subscribed, it's what's going to enter you into the giveaway for the Spider-Man Premium format by Sideshow. We are going to hit 125K any day now, and I'm going to pick a random video where I promoted the giveaway and use a random YouTube comment generator to draw a worldwide winner. Once we hit the milestone, we'll go live on the following Sunday and pick a winner. So you're going to want to comment on as many videos where I promoted the giveaway, because you're not really sure which video I'm going to pick. I'm not even sure which one I'm going to pick yet to actually use the randomizer on. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Check out my playlist on other types of videos like this, where I just give a little personal reflection on collecting or whatnot. And thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.